Hello, and welcome to Literary Bites, a short story podcast written and narrated by me, Cassie Hamer. Today's story is titled Sculptures by the Sea, and it's inspired by a yearly art exhibition in Sydney's Eastern Beaches, where, for nearly 3 weeks in late October, an incredible cliffside walking track becomes the backdrop to a major sculpture exhibition showcasing works from all over the world. It's an incredible visual spectacle, and because it's free to the public, it's also an incredible people-watching event. I've been many times. I love it and occasionally hate it. Young, old, tourists, locals jostle for position, and there's a kind of tension there that I wanted to capture in this story, which is less about the sculptures themselves and more about love in a long-term marriage and the grief that comes when illness causes that lengthy partnership to change shape. The story won second place in the Newcastle Short Story Award and was published in an anthology of shortlisted stories for that year. I hope you enjoy it. Sculptures by the Sea. Stan had wanted to walk all the way from Bondi Junction train station to the beach, but Carmel wouldn't hear of it, her arthritic knees after all. So here they are on a bus, hurtling down Bondi Road, past the tattoo parlours and the Whole Foods stores, the charcoal chicken shops and the beauticians advertising 3 Botox injections for $99. Stan taps Carmel's arm and pegs 2 fingers over his nose. Carmel nods, extends her pinky in the direction of the teenage boy with greasy hair and a t-shirt that says, "Dumb is fun." It's him. He's the one with the body odour. Stan shakes his head, gestures to the older guy in front, faded flannel shirt and the bobbled nose of an experienced drinker. Carmel shrugs. Stan makes a wave motion with his hand, reminding her of their 1984 cruise around the Adriatic, where an older American man, a history teacher, sat at their table every night, and he had the most terrible, and the way it was hilarious. Too hard to explain. You just had to be there. Silently, Stan leans into her shoulder, and Carmel covers her mouth to stifle a laugh. At least they still have this, their own private Auslan of nudges, nods and winks. 46 years of marriage, not erased entirely, not yet. The bus stops outside a vegan pizzeria and Stan looks out the window. "Where are we going again?" he asks. "Sculptures," says Carmel, "you remember." It's their yearly tradition, not that she writes it into her calendar, just lets the seasons do their work. The soapy jasmine, the soft purple rain from the jacaranda. Then she knows. Time for their annual pilgrimage to the Eastern Beaches. "Oh, yes, sculptures," Stan nods. "I remember now." Brow furrowed, fingers in a fist on his knee, he stares out the window looking for clues. More knee-high socks and SLR cameras hop on the bus and the driver waits for them to sit before careering out into the traffic again. Stan looks around at Carmel. "Where are we going today?" He's like a child on a holiday. "Are we there yet?" Carmel clears her throat, swallows the dismay, takes his hand and squeezes. "It's all right, we'll be there soon." It's 9:30 a.m. and Marks Park is almost empty, save for the seagulls wheeling about the sky like spent sandwich wrappers. But there are the sculptures, of course, so still and mighty against a backdrop of restless ocean. Even under overcast skies, the effect of the momentous gathering, this corroboree of art, is dazzling and breath stalls in Carmel's throat for the beauty of it all. Where to look first? At that neon green chute? Fiberglass perhaps, stretching high above the ground like Jack's beanstalk? Or that monolithic lump of sandstone like the entrance to a cave leading to nothing but sea and sky? Stan walks towards the stone monolith and reads the little square sign on the grass. Woman walking number 22. Carmel follows beside him, runs her hand over the base. Looks like sandstone, but doesn't feel like it. Stan looks up between the great cleave in the rock. I think it's a vulva. Vulva? Carmel pretends she hasn't heard, checks to see no one else has. The crowd is already starting to build. I'll go and get a program. You stay here. She leaves Stan to contemplate the sandstone gash and heads to the merchandise tent where a small queue has formed. Carmel has her $10 ready to go and cannot help but sigh as person after person shuffles about in their wallet, seemingly surprised that payment is expected, even though the signage states it quite clearly. Programs, $10. The woman in front of her, a mother, pushes her pram to the front of the queue. $10, thanks, says the young woman selling the booklets. The mother pats her pockets, rifles in her handbag. Her child is glued to a tiny screen making jarring noises that Carmel recognises as Dora the Explorer. Thank God her grandchildren are past that stage. Sorry, the credit card was in my pocket. The mother pats again to be sure. It must be in my phone case. She leans down to the child. Now, Rennie, sweetie, Mummy just needs to borrow her phone for a moment. The woman's voice is sugar syrup, and Carmel shifts weight. She cannot leave Stan for long, not with those steep slopes just beyond the sculptures that fall away to nothing but rocks and hungry seas. Carmel inches forward and clears her throat as the mother fusses. Excuse me, but my husband is waiting and he's not well, so would you mind if I just... The mother unfurls to full height, lioness mode. Or is it cobra? Something animal. Well, I have a child, she snaps, and I don't appreciate your passive-aggressive tone. The child starts to wail. Now look what you've done. She douses the child in kisses. Shush, Rennie, sweetie, nearly there, darling. She hands over the credit card, gives the phone back to the child, and wheels away without looking back. Sorry for the wait, says the young woman in the booth. Not your fault, says Carmel, clutching tightly to her $10 to calm the angry tremble in her fingers. What has so enraged her? It's just a silly young mother, after all, a mother who named her child after a heartburn treatment. She breathes and hurries back to the rock sculpture. There is no Stan, and the park is busy now. So many cameras and phones that Carmel can almost feel the buzz of images making their way into the cloud. At last she finds him at the edge of the path, gazing down the coastline at the cataract-riven milkiness of the ocean and the cemetery 2 headlands away, dotted with crosses. Last year they saw a whale here. Hopefully that is what Stan is remembering. I thought I'd lost you. She touches his arm gently so as not to frighten him out of his reverie. He regards her, and unfamiliarity fleets over his face before it is replaced with a smile. Frail synapses connecting. Thought I'd done a runner, eh? He tucks her hand under his elbow. You can't get rid of me that easily. He points down onto the beach below. I just saw a fox down there, you know. What? Down on the sand? He nods, and she squints in the direction of his finger. A fox in this place? This coastal suburbia where rows of window-eyed concrete mansions sit in dress circle formation like an unblinking audience for the ocean. I don't think so, Stan. Probably just a dog. It was a fox. He drops her hand. Don't you believe me? Is it a delusion? Hallucination? Just go along with what he says, the doctor advised her. You'll only upset him if you don't. Come over to this one, she says lightly. It's the charge of the light horse at Beersheba. She forces a smile through the quiver in her cheeks. Isn't it amazing? He stands before the stampeding herd, freeze-framed in steel. How has the artist done that? Captured the chaos and trauma of war with nothing but poles and sheets of rusty metal. That's incredible, says Stan. I don't know how they do it, says Carmel. Stan steps in closer. You know, at the end of the war, a lot of the soldiers shot their own horses. She turns to him. Really? How awful. Better than letting them rot away in Egypt. But the Egyptians might have used them, cared for them. Stan gently shakes his head. He thinks her naive, she can tell. The soldiers felt it was merciful. She looks him in the eye. I think it cruel. They leave the horses and meander slowly down the clifftop walk, past the joggers and the surfers, the tourists and the school kids holding mobile phones to their noses like a third eye. Stan and Carmel stop in front of a shiny mirror-like sculpture labelled Narcissus, and Carmel attempts an arty, ironic photo of them looking at their reflections. She'll print it later and paste it to the visual calendar on the fridge where she keeps a record of everything they've done for the month as a way of helping Stan remember. Sometimes when he goes for the milk, Carmel catches him looking at it in wonder. Was that really me in the Blue Mountains last week? Since when did I enjoy picnics in the Botanic Gardens? In and out he peers, like a child discovering its hand. Carmel offers to take a photo for some Japanese tourists standing before a model of 3 surfers that looks solid from front on, but nearly transparent from the side. They decline and produce a stick that extends from their phones like a robot arm. How ingenious, says Stan, hands on hips. Yes, you never have to talk to anyone again, says Carmel. They walk slowly. Adjectives from fellow walkers float towards them on the breeze. Shiny, isn't it? So beautiful. Deep. Very deep. Halfway down, there is a set of small but highly detailed tribal figures. The program says they're made from sand and clay by artists of the South Pacific, and the idea is to let the wind and spray take its toll. Carmel points out where the decay has set in, the frame of the figures poking through. Nothing behind it but chicken wire. They're nearly on the beach now and the sun is above them. Hot, especially for spring. It's been an age since Sydney's last decent rain. They retreat to the browned grass where there are yet more sculptures and a brand new Hyundai, all shiny chrome and buffed up wheels. A salesperson with a ponytail and a corporate baseball cap stands guard. Stan points at the car. What's that sculpture called then? He smiles and pretends to look in his program. They unwrap the sandwiches, cheese and lettuce for her, chicken and avocado for him. You know, when I was a kid, I nearly died out there. Stan munches slowly. You never told me that. She looks at him carefully. Got caught in a rip and it was like a freight train. Who was with you? Oh, Mum and Dad were somewhere. It was the 50s, you know. We didn't come here much. How terrifying. She finishes the sandwich and dusts the crumbs from her lap. I can't imagine. Oh, it was the helplessness of it all, completely at the mercy of the current. He scrunches up the Glad wrap. Awful. After lunch, Stan lies down, hat propped over his face like a tent. In minutes, he is snoring. Carmel takes up her book. Hours pass. The beach is in lull, 3 p.m, so the school kids have gone and the tourists too. Carmel feels her eyes drooping. She lets the book fall closed, closes her eyes briefly, then opens. There, over there, a flash of something orange. Bushy tail, elfin ears, pinched nose. It looks at her, twitching. Head at the angle of question. Carmel sits up. She does not know what to do, who to tell, whether to wake Stan. She touches him gently. Stan, wake up. He is groggy, eye rubbing. What is it? I saw it, the fox. You are right, it's over there. She looks back to the bushes. But the fox is gone. No orange tail, no darting eyes, nothing. What are you talking about? Stan is on his elbows. His eyes appraise her. That fox you saw from the cliff, it was real. It was there a second ago. Carmel points to the bushes and Stan's gaze follows her fingers. What fox? She clutches his elbow. You saw it, Stan. You did. His smile is thin, his eyes pitying, disappointed, a look she knows. I'm afraid you've lost me. He lies down and closes his eyes, the setting sun throwing shadows long and wide. You've completely lost me, he murmurs. Thank you for listening to Sculptures by the Sea. I'd love to hear what you think, either through a rating or review. If you liked the story, you may want to check out the full-length novels that I've written. All the details are on my website, cassiehamer.com. Until next time, happy reading.